G'day guys, welcome. Thursday, and it is coffee time, preview time. I'm going to start with an analogy, and I might sort of waffle on a little bit here. That's okay. Feel free to tune out. If it's not for you, that's okay. I'm a little bit lost at the moment. I think we all are to some extent. But I like my analogies. I haven't used one for a while, and I don't want to sit here in this sort of miserable mood like I was in the review after the Port Adelaide game, where I did carry on a little bit. Maybe it was a little bit over the top. But when I wasn't a teenager yet, but I remember being in the car with mum and dad or whatever that may be, and this promo kept coming on the radio for this film that was just about to be released. And it went like this. It was: the tide of terror that swept America is now here. The Shining. I reckon I heard it like countless times over a couple of weeks, this same promo. And I'd seen Jaws in 1977 when that was first released, and that scared the shit out of me. And this promo, I just wanted to see this film, The Shining. And we did eventually go see it, not long after it was released here in Australia. And it was amazing for a start. And till this day, it's one of my favourite ever films, Stanley Kubrick film, starring Jack Nicholson, who was unbelievable in his role in that film. Just amazing. And I reckon I've watched that film, I don't know, maybe 30 times, maybe more. I still get something out of it every time I watch it. But it's the final scene that I want to talk about, because I think this kind of sort of shows where we're at. Not only as supporters, but just the club in general, particularly the players and the coaches. And you know the scene if you've watched the film, and I'm sure most of you would have watched The Shining. And if you haven't, do yourself a favour, go out and watch it. But Jack Torrance, played by Jack Nicholson, he's gone crazy, like looking after this hotel. Like he's just gone crazy. And he's wanting to hunt down his son, Danny. And he's chasing him outside in the snow and through this giant maze. And it looks like he's going to get him, like it's sort of, well, it doesn't look like he's going to get him, but the young kid is really smart. Like he's kind of scared, but he's composed. Yeah, he's composed. And he just outsmarts his dad. Like he outsmarts him and ends up getting out and jumps into the arms of his mum, and he's safe. And it leaves Jack Torrance alone in this maze, just lost. In every corner he turns, there's a dead end. There's just a fucking dead end. There's no way out of this maze. Can't see. He's getting crazier and crazier. There's no answers. He's been outsmarted, and eventually he succumbs. Like he succumbs and he's dead. Always remember that final image of him frozen. And that's kind of us. That's us. Like that is us. We're frozen. Maybe we're not dead, but right now we're frozen. And maybe in time we can be thawed out and return again, but that's not going to happen anytime soon. We've just come to so many dead ends. We have no answers. We've been out-coached. We've been outsmarted. We've been outworked. And we find ourselves in this position, and we've got 8 games to go. And I don't know what I'm looking for now. Like, I really don't know what I'm looking for now from this team. over the coming 8 weeks. And I'm honest about that. I'm lost with them. There's a few little things that I may talk about in this video in regards to potentially what I'm looking for, and it's probably mostly around selection. But yeah, we are lost. We are really lost. And the more the club talk about it, the more they try and calm us, it just doesn't help. It just doesn't work. And I kind of feel like they don't know what they're doing either. They're incompetent. Right at the moment, they're incompetent. The people who are in charge at the moment who's putting this team out in the field is incompetent. And it shows. So first it was game plan and method. And now we've got to a point where it's now effort and desire and spirit. And now that's gone as well. So we're in a really bad spot. And to come up this weekend or on Friday night against the best team in it, who are the complete opposite to us. You know, when you look at where we're on the ladder, you know, they're on top and we're 11th. But right now, guys, we are the worst. We are arguably the worst team in the competition. It's amazing. But there's this spirit and freedom about Collingwood, and I don't think they'll even address it in regards to we could be a dangerous proposition for them come Friday night, given where we're at. I don't think they're the type of a team that will even worry about that. They play with such freedom and joy and spirit. So, yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what transpires tomorrow night. But there's been a fair bit of water passed under the bridge since I did my review of the Port game on Friday. So I thought I'd just touch on quickly in regards to what I did last weekend, and I wanted to put out some separate videos with this. I wanted to do a VFL report, but I didn't get time. Would have loved to put a VFL report out because it was a really good performance by our VFL boys, and I did watch the game in its entirety. But because we played on Thursday, I had the whole weekend pretty much to sort of absorb myself in footy. So I went to Coates Talent League game on Saturday, which was really good because there was some Carlton Next Generation Academy players playing in that game, plus some other talent. And if you're a Collingwood supporter jumping on here now, there's some players, NGA players that played in that game as well. I'll touch on those. Then the VFL game on Saturday night, and then I watched the Vic Country v South Australian under-18 game at Marvel Stadium, which featured father and son prospects, Cody Walker for next year's draft, not this year's draft, and Harry Dean, who's putting together a pretty solid season for the Murray Bushrangers and now Vic Country. So, yeah, so I'll start with the Coates Talent League game on Saturday. Now, that was in Werribee down at Chirnside Park, and the Western Jets, who my young lad plays for, they were taking on the Oakleigh Chargers at Chirnside Park. Beautiful day. Perfect day for football, no wind, kind of like the ground. We had a bit of rain during the week, but the ground was sort of a little bit sticky. You know, you get that sort of sticky, sort of soft ground, not muddy or anything, but just perfect. Just the perfect conditions for football. And Oakleigh Chargers are a pretty bloody good football team, and they were nearly at full strength. In fact, both teams were nearly at full strength because there's a break in the APS at the moment, meaning a lot of the APS boys, and Oakleigh Chargers have got a lot of APS players, came back and played in this game. And the Oakleigh Chargers had Jack Ison and also Minjara Clark play. Now, for those of you, I've done some videos in the past on our NGA products. We've got 3 of them at the moment who train with us over the pre-season. That was Tyson Gresham from the Northern Knights, who's playing Vic Metro at the moment. We've got Jack Ison and also Minjara Clark, both at the Oakleigh Chargers, and both boys are at Scotch College. I've seen all 3 of them play live before, and both Jack Ison and Minjara Clark played in this game. And look, there's a long way to go. Like, there's still a little bit to play out in this season from an under-18 perspective, but yeah, I'm not I'm not. I'm not enthused by our NGA products at all. Jack Ison and both Minjara Clark, this is the second time I've watched them. I watched them play for Scotch versus Hailbury about 3 weeks back, and they didn't impress on that day. And they certainly didn't impress again on the weekend for Oakleigh against the Western Jets. Look, both kicked goals. They kicked a goal apiece. I think Jack Ison had 11 touches, Minjara Clark had 4, but they're not putting together really eye-catching seasons. I know Jack Ison's playing Vic Metro at the moment, but he didn't set the world on fire against South Australia. He'll get another opportunity shortly against Western Australia, but I don't know. I don't feel like opposition clubs will be in a position to want to be bidding for those players at this stage. And I'm not sold on Tyson Gresham as well. I do hear a lot of Carlton supporters say, oh, well, we've got Cody Walker and Harry Dean coming through. We've got NGA product, Tyson Gresham. Now, yeah, he's a good little player, Tyson Gresham. He's very small. And he's been playing predominantly midfield for the Northern Knights, where he's probably his best position is a small forward. But I don't see it in any three of them at the moment at all. I'll be still keeping a close eye on them. I really will. But at this stage, it's a big no. It's a big no for me out of those three boys. I hope they come good. I really do. But I don't think we will be moving heaven and hell to get our hands on any of those three NGA products at this stage. I think there would be, I don't know if it's a level of concern, but I'd be surprised if our recruiters, probably other than Jack Ison, who's probably got the most upside out of the three, given his height. He's got a bit of X factor about him, but I think they'd be a little bit wary about taking a punt on any of these NGA products at the moment. So it's a big no. The two father and sons obviously played in the Vic Country game versus South Australia. They got their pants pulled down Vic Country by South Australia. We've got a very, very good team this year. They've just been crowned the champs of the under-18 competition, but there's still a few games to go. Vic Country's still got to play Vic Metro. I know that. Cody Walker struggled. He actually struggled. He really hasn't set. He's a bottom major, but he's an older bottom major, but he hasn't set the world on fire in these national championships thus far. And I know there's a lot of hype around him, and rightly so. At Coates Talent League level, he's performing very strongly. But in both national championships games, he looks a little bit small at this stage, and he looks a little bit out of his depth. He's still winning a bit of the ball, but there hasn't been any eye-catching sort of moments from Cody Walker in any of the two games that he's played thus far. But on the other side of the ledger, Harry Dean, who's a top ager, has had two really solid games for Vic Country as a key defender. And there's no doubt in my mind, given what he's been able to put together for Vic Country, plus his stellar season for the Murray Bushrangers, I'm thinking if he continues on with that form, I'm pretty sure that an opposition club could potentially bid for Harry Dean maybe before 20, definitely between 20 and 30. So he's someone that we should be relatively excited about, given that we've also got now Harry O'Farrell, who looks a really strong prospect for us moving forward. And there's a lot of time that needs to still be put into the body of Harry O'Farrell, but you get both Harry Dean and Harry O'Farrell through your door as key position defenders, and one of them being a father and son, and the connection Harry O'Farrell has with our club. I think that's a positive, and then we're just going to have to wait and see how Cody Walker develops over the next 12 months. But right now with Cody Walker, I think it's still a little bit of a watch, but I still predict that he's probably going to develop his body a little bit more over the next 12 months. But so far as a bottom major at the Nationals, he's been a little bit quiet and a little bit underwhelming. Okay, so I'll just put it that way. I'll just put, this is, look, I've got a young guy, as I said, he's a ruckman, plays for the Western Jets. He went on the weekend, up against Louis Emmett, who coming into this year was touted as a top 10 pick. He's drifted out a little bit. I know he's had some injuries. He's at Scotch College as well. I think this may have been his first game back. It was a great challenge for my young lad. Had a great battle for 4 quarters in the ruck, as you can see by the stats. But I sort of look at those fantasy points there. It kind of looks okay for my young lad. But this Louis Emmett, and there's a lot of talk around at the moment about Cooper Duff Tytler. This Louis Emmett is a running machine. He's 199 centimetres, and I've never seen a big guy run as hard. Like, I don't know if he's a natural footballer. Well, he's a good footballer, don't get me wrong, but I don't feel like he's a natural footballer. But by God, the work rate on this kid is next level. He just gets the contest to contest, almost plays like an extra midfielder. I felt like my young lad had kind of the better at him, particularly at the centre bounces. But when my young fellow came from the field, he actually said to me, "I've never played on a guy in the ruck who's got that engine to get to contest. So he's still one to look out for, I think, Louis Emmett. I'm fascinated to see how he goes at the national championships and the finish to the season. Given that he's drifted a little bit, I think he's drifted from potential top 10, maybe not even in the top 20 now, but somewhere between, say, 25 and 30. That's my feeling with Louis Emmett, but he can seriously move around the ground. He's got some great traits. For Collingwood, if you're interested, Jai Saxena is an NGA product who had a really great start to the season. Been a little bit quieter since then. He goes to Xavier College. I saw him play against St. Kevin's about 6 weeks back, and he was super impressive in that game as a high half forward. I know he's had some really good games for Oakleigh Chargers when he can play for them. He played in the Nationals against Vic Metro, played South Australia, and he didn't do a hell of a lot in that game, and he was okay against the Jets on the weekend. I really rate him. The reason why I rate this kid, he plays as a high half forward, but he's quite flexible in that he's good overhead for his size. So he's got some tricks. Other than his ability to, he's got great agility. He's pretty smart around the goals. He's got some speed. He can also take a mark above his head. I think the best small forwards in the competition have that ability to be really good overhead. So I'd be I'm not quite sure where he's going to fit in as regards to a bid. But I'd have Jai Saxena well ahead in regards to potentially a club taking bids on him compared to our boys in Jack Ison and Minjara Clark or Tyson Gresham. And the other lad that Collingwood supporters might be interested in, obviously Tom McGuan. He plays for the Western Jets. I watch him every week. He's a class act. He's a little bit small, high accumulator, very smart, very crafty. Very hard to predict at this stage what it would look like for him once he hits senior ranks. He has played quite a bit of senior football, high-level senior football before for Keilor, played in the premiership for Keilor last year in the seniors, but he's a great kid, great energy, cheeky, but smart. And obviously he's got his old man who's just he's a genius, Mick McGuan, in regards to sort of tutoring and mentoring. Where that bid comes for Tom at this stage, I'm not quite sure. He's putting together a top season at Coates Talent League level. A little bit quiet in the first Vic Metro game. Didn't have a great game in the futures last year in the under-17s before the grand final. He was a little bit ill, a little bit sick in that game. So, I'm really fascinated to see how he goes in the next national championships game. I think it's against Western Australia coming up shortly. But and the other one's Zach McCarthy, who plays for the Oakleigh Chargers. He didn't play on the weekend. He's another ruckman, mobile ruckman. He must be injured. So I can't comment on him. Anyway, after the game on Friday, if I go, I'm then heading up really early Saturday morning, as I said a while back, where taking a road trip up to Mildura. I think it takes around about 6 hours in the car. Pretty excited about it, actually. We're spending the night in Mildura, Saturday night, and then on Sunday, the Western Jets play the Bendigo Pioneers at the Mildura Sporting Precinct. That's round 14 of the Coates Talent League, and I'm assuming Cody Walker will be playing in that game. So this will be the first opportunity I'll get to see Cody Walker play live, which I'm very excited about. Anyway, that's my draft wrap at the moment. Oh, actually, another two players of some interest. Hunter Holmes, the brother of Max, plays for the Oakleigh Chargers. He was really good. He's a bit of a smoky at the moment. I really liked his performance. Plays a little bit like his brother, so he's one to watch out for. And the other one is Will Darcy, the brother of Sam. There was a bit of hype around Sam Darcy when he played for Scotch College and then got a game for the Oakleigh Chargers. He's playing as a key defender at the moment, 198 centimetres. He's like a twig. He's so skinny, and no, I don't think any clubs will be, he's a father and son prospect, obviously, but I don't think any clubs will be, at the moment, be bidding for Sam Darcy. So it'd be a decision for the Western Bulldogs to make whether they want to take him as a rookie, father and son, whatever that may be, and use him as a project player. Anyway, that's enough of that. With this game on Friday night, guys, would this be the biggest upset of the year? Like, seriously, think about it. Maybe I'm missing a game where there's been a bigger upset. You know, we go back to round one when the Tigers got us after they were 40-odd points up. And at the time, that was a huge upset. But thinking about that now, and the way we've played in our season, you would hardly think from a Richmond point of view that that's a huge scalp. Like, it doesn't feel like a massive upset now, just like the game when North Melbourne beat us a couple of weeks back. Just looking at us now, it doesn't feel like a massive upset. But if this, I mean, I'm talking if something extraordinary happened, which I just can't see. I just can't see it. But given how good Collingwood are and given just their mindset and the way they play, and it doesn't appear that anything worries them in regards to taking the foot off the pedal. Look, they manage players, but they just others come in and play their role, all that type of stuff. But I don't think they'll be sitting back and worrying about us that we could be dangerous. They'll just play the way they want to play. So it'd have to be an extraordinary turnaround for us to put together anything that could trouble Collingwood, and you'd think they would have to be somehow off their tucker in this game for us to even have a sniff. And I reckon if the extraordinary did happen, and that's all we're thinking about now, the extraordinary, then this would have to be the biggest upset for 2025. It would have to be. And I'm not trying to do reverse psychology here at all. I just honestly believe that. That's how bad we are at the moment, and that's how good Collingwood are. And I understand that Collingwood supporters would be looking at last week's performance. You've won 6 in a row. Maybe you're thinking a loss is around the corner. Maybe you need a loss before the finals. I don't believe that is the case. Maybe you weren't at your best against the West Coast Eagles. Who knows? You've got a few players out. We've got a few players out as well. So we can't use that as an excuse because both teams aren't at full strength. But, yeah, this would be a miracle and kind of extraordinary, remarkable. I'm looking at us, and I suppose teams will be selected tonight. I feel like, once again, we've got kind of lucky. And what I mean by lucky, I don't want to say that getting injuries is lucky, but I feel like with Saad going out with concussion, Jack Silvani, groin soreness, who knows what that is? Is that OP? Probably. It looks like he's been carrying that for a period of time now. But I'm not in the camp of we've played him like we've played him. Now he's sore. I'm not in that camp of whinging and whining about that. Players are always playing under duress. They always are. But it's probably got to the point in time now where you just got to rest him. But it's sort of easy once again that we get these injuries, which makes selection just a little bit safer for Voss. And that's my feeling. I really do, because it's sort of easy to go, okay, we've got those two injuries here. Let's not really drop anyone of significance, big name players. Let's just keep them in, and we'll bring a few in to cover the losses of Jack Silvagni and Adam Saad. I hope there's some real statements. I mean, what have you got to lose now, Michael Voss? You're playing and coaching for your career. There's no wriggle room here for you. Another spiritless display that's nail in the coffin time for you. So at the bare minute, we need to see some spirit. We know that young players will bring at least that energy and that spirit, even though it could be lambs to slaughter. I hope there's more than just the 2 or 3 changes. I'm not quite sure what happened with Billy Wilson on the weekend. Was he injured? Didn't feel like he played in the second half. He wasn't subbed off. But anyway, they're the outs. But I did watch the VFL game. So wanted to do a review on this game, guys, because it was such a top-notch performance. Yes, it's VFL. Yes, it's the next rung down. Yes, okay, you don't want to get too carried away. And all the talk, and rightly so, was around the performance of Ashton Moir. You know, he, no doubt in my mind, he'll play this weekend. He will play this weekend. I think his form has been kind of slowly building. You know, 4 goals is a top-notch performance, went into the midfield, and he looked really invested and really engaged. And that's probably all they're asking of him at this stage. But it is a big step up. But the performance of Frankie Evans was eye-catching. And that won't sit well with a lot of you. But you can't just ignore that performance. That is the best game I've seen from a Carlton-listed VFL player in such a long time. 23 and 3 goals and 8 tackles as a high half forward. He was clean, he was aggressive, he was clinical in his finishing. And then you look at that performance by Frankie Evans, and then you look back to when the best recruiter in the competition, in Stephen Wells from Geelong, plucked this guy out of obscurity from Brunswick into VAFA, and you think, this is what he saw in this guy. And at 23 years of age, it can't be over. Like, you can't just put a line through him. You can't when you put a performance like that together. And this is his best performance at VFL level, but here's another one that's been kind of building. And if you can't tell me off the back of that performance that he can't come in and replace a Motlop or a Fogarty, then maybe I'm just fucked in the head, guys. But that performance by Frankie Evans was just everything we want from a Carlton player. Clean, aggressive, strong, clinical, doesn't lose his feet, and calm. Popped up at the right times. I loved his performance. Lockie Cowan will probably come in. He'll replace Silvagni, you would think. Pretty good in the VFL, 25 touches. Geez, you wouldn't want him to do his hamstring again. I don't think Ben Camporelli comes in. I love the aggression of Will White. I really did. I think he played angry. He played angry. Good to see Harry Charlson probably have his best game. Don't think he's ready yet. Lemmy 3 goals was pretty quiet, but they're the type of games where you struggle to get in it, but you still hit the scoreboard. I wanted Harry Lemmy in last week. Whether he's put his hand up to come in this week, I'm not quite sure. Leave Matt Carroll in the VFL. Leave him in there for a couple of weeks because I thought he was pretty good down back. Had 24, but he needs some time there. Don't just put him down there for one game and bring him back in. Bin's quiet. Lucas Camporelli, relatively quiet. Pitnet dominated the ruck, particularly after half-time. 2 Irish lads are miles off. They are miles off. Duffy's probably the pick out of the 2. probably got more upside given his size and his speed, but I can't see Rob Monaghan being at the club next year. Corey Durden, okay, like he was serviceable, but if you're bringing in a smallish type forward, it's got to be Frankie Evans. It can't be Corey Durden. We've got no Walsh, no Harry, no Cottrell. The Pies have got a few out as well. Like they can't play. Maynard, De Goey's not playing. Lockie Schiltz. They didn't have Bobby Hill last week. Was he out for personal reasons? I think he was. You look at their side, and it's just like it's so even. It's like they don't necessarily rely on, like they've got stars, but they just don't rely on any individuals. You know the old cliche, there's no I in team. You know that old cliche? Who thought of that? Absolute genius. No I in team. That's us. We're just playing as individuals, guys. We're just playing as individuals. And we're going to see that against Collingwood. We're going to see a team that is so well structured and so well drilled, but within that is a freedom and a joy. And it's no surprise and no wonder they win so many close games because they're not afraid, they're not scared, they're not uptight. I can't mount any case, and they're debuting their third player this year. That probably shows you how stable they've been, but they've got pretty strong depth. I think he's a 23-year-old winger. Is it Rowan Sheen or something from, I think he played for Casey, got him from the Waffle, he's a winger. Don't know, guys. What do we want? Is it just something, like it's just something you can look back at the end of the year and Geelong and Collingwood, Brisbane, they're probably the three teams that can win it. Maybe GWS. I know we're probably going a little bit early here, but at the very least, could you say at the end of the year, if it's a Collingwood and Geelong grand final, you could at least hang your fucking hat on something and say, look, we actually beat the grand finalists, both of them, in one of the worst seasons that football clubs had. But I can't see it happening. What do you think? Anyway, hope you enjoyed. I'll speak soon.